Welcome to Achieve Wealth through value-add real estate investing. This is the show where the guru hype is banned and you get direct insights from commercial real estate operators. If you're a passive investor, this show can help you better understand investment opportunities. And if you're an active investor, the lessons from each episode can help you to become more effective in your own deals. Now, here's your host, investor and author, James Kandasamy.
Hey audience and listeners, this is James Kandasamy from Achieve Wealth through Value-Add Real Estate Investing podcast. Today I have Rama Krishna from California. Rama has been focusing a lot on apartment purchases, which is averaging around 30 to 40 units. And the largest you have done was 59 units. So it's going to be very interesting especially for a lot of people who are trying to get into the game and also looking for like high cash flow as well. We're going to go detail on why sometimes the smaller deals makes a lot more money than larger deals. So hey Rama, welcome to the show.
Thank you, James. Thank you for having me.
And one of the things that we want to talk about, apart from going into Rama strategies and businesses, we want to go into what asset manager can do during this COVID-19 crisis that has been happening right now. Hopefully, I can publish this podcast as soon as possible, but I'm sure it's going to be very relevant because it's going to take a few months for this crisis to subside, I guess, and it may take a few more quarters to fully subside. So, Rama, did I miss out anything on your credentials?
No, not much. I think, so just to kind of re-summarize, right, like I'm based out of California, Cupertino, Bay Area, San Francisco. I'm an IT professional. Just to recap, like in 90 seconds, right, started from real estate 3 years back, started from single family homes. I was always wanted to actually do real estate, but the problem was I'm in Bay Area, really hot market. I cannot get like any cash flow. It's kind of very hard to find deals. And I didn't want to do out of state because it's like I have a very stressful IT job here. I cannot travel to out of state to do these things. I was postponing doing real estate for so long time. So 3 years back, kind of pulled the trigger, bought my 2 single family homes, one in Raleigh and Atlanta. That's where I started. And then quickly realized that I cannot scale with single family homes. And got into multifamily, bought 8 apartment complexes between 20 to 80 units. That's more like a sweet spot for me, like doing the deals. We can go further into that. And one thing kind of missed out that we didn't talk before is that construction projects. To 2 new construction projects, 97 and 83 units in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. So either deep value adds, and then new construction, mostly into that kind of overall, existing apartments and new developments.
Got it. That's very interesting. I think we should just definitely talk just about you and maybe do a separate podcast for the COVID-19 asset management because there's so much of information that I want to get from you. And I think the COVID-19 thing is also very important. So that's going to be another podcast maybe before or after this. Let's go into details. So the market that you have been focusing on that I know we talked offline before this is Florida, Kansas City, and Ohio, and you are sitting in California. At what point of your work, you are a very stressful IT guy. I mean, I was a stressful IT guy too, right?
Yeah.
What was that aha moment saying that, hey, I better go and buy something else? Or did you play around with stocks and you realize stocks is not for you? So what was that aha moment that say that you need to go and focus on buying multifamily apartments?
Right. So I did 2 businesses, IT businesses, products and like consulting business. I did stocks, options and everything. So there was a lot of active businesses, right? Like I need to be there, really active. Let's say if somebody can start restaurants, like franchises, you need to be there in that actively. If you don't be part of that business, then that you cannot succeed in that, right? Even IT businesses are consulting or product development. Everything is active. Here, even in Bay Area, a lot of people having a lot of money from IT, either freelancing or like full-time jobs. But the problem is if they stop going Monday morning, they cannot make money. That's the main part for me to getting into the aha moment into the real estate. I know, and when I bought these single family homes, I'm getting like $200, $300 for each single family home as a cash flow. But then I wanted to scale it. But at the same time, I thought I cannot scale it. The problem with the apartments is, right, at that time, for me, personally, living in Bay Area, these apartment complexes are so expensive, right? These are 20, 30, 40, $50 million. Like I didn't even know that, we can buy apartment complexes. The two things kind of the aha moment for me is we can buy apartments as a common man with syndication, right? Syndication is another thing, right? I was buying single family homes myself, and I know a lot of my friends actually buying single family homes out of state, right? They buy in Texas, California, right? They buy everywhere, all the single family homes. But if we combine the 10, 20, 30 people combined, we can actually buy larger complexes, larger commercial properties, right? That was aha moment. Yes, the syndication itself was an aha moment for me.
So
The reason why, yeah,
was that from someone talking to you, or from Bigger Pockets, or you dreamt
right.
about syndication, or what happened?
No, I learned about this
How did you find
syndication
it out?
with the webinar from Neil Baba, right? Like Neil.
Okay, yeah.
And he was having this weekly or I think monthly multifamily fundamentals webinar, right?
Okay.
So 3 years back, I think November, 2017, had like this webinar from him. And the moment I did the webinar, I first reached to him like, Neil, I want to meet you. Like, no, this is really good. Like, this is crazy, right? And then we met in a Starbucks in Fremont. And I told after this, like, Neil, I wanted to learn this thing. This is exactly what I wanted to do, right? And he said there's a boot camp coming up, e-boot camp, like in February. And he said, like, I'm going to sign up on that, right? That's when kind of started
so let me stop
converting from from single families to multifamily.
Got it. So, but what were the few key things in that discussion with Neil that you have was like, wow, this is suitable for me? Like, what was your personal thing that you think that, oh, this is like, it's very interesting for me? What are the aspects of syndication that was very attractive to you?
Overall, apartments is a kind of a scaling the single family home model. That what I'm thinking, right? I know that real estate can give passive income, but that I cannot buy 100, 200, 300 single family homes. That one, the first thing is scale. The second thing is run as a business, right? Like I did my IT businesses before. So apartments is also a business, right? You need to increase your income, decrease your expenses, and then efficiently run your operations. Make sure that everything like people management. You talk to your property managers, your investors, your brokers, and seeing like identifying this analysis and everything, right? Run it as a business. Third thing aspect is a syndication model itself, right?
Okay.
I have like hundreds of friends like here, and then other acquaintances, old colleagues. A lot of people are high net worth individuals. If I can prove myself in this business, I can definitely syndicate and raise capital, right? So those are the three main aspects for me. Kind of struck the chord when I'm talking to him. And we can, and also the fundamental thing. Hey, we can buy larger complexes like this. Like I was not even imagining a common man can buy apartments, right? That's those are the three main aspects.
Got it. So, okay. So now you're sitting in California. After you talk to Neil, you come out and you already go through his boot camp. Why you went from California to Florida, Kansas City, and Ohio? Or which deal did you buy first? Which state was that?
From a multifamily.
Yeah, multifamily.
Right. For the first 5 deals, I bought it in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. Why Jacksonville, Florida? Why not Las Vegas or Utah or Texas? Or is it just because you landed there by luck?
Right. So I want to actually buy multifamily in Raleigh, Durham, and Atlanta because that's where I started. So when I started researching about markets for my single family homes, with all the research I did, I picked these two markets, Raleigh, Durham.
Okay. And what are the things you saw in Raleigh, Durham, and Atlanta that was
somehow
like
I think I'm
awesome,
reading
awesome
all
market?
the articles, reading all the articles and everything. With the technology stuff happening also there and jobs moving in. Very few. I didn't actually connect the dots at the time, right? When I did the boot camp from Neil, then I could able to connect the dots. So yes, these are good markets. And then I was started offering on deals in North Carolina and Atlanta. Like none of them are penciling out. Like what is this? Like even 2-3 years back, it's not working out. I can't imagine now, or maybe like the pre-corona. It's never kind of worked out for me because I never purchased in the last 3 years. And then kind of when I started multifamily again, I started looking into these two markets, Raleigh, Durham, and Atlanta. I was offering ton of properties. I visited brokers, networked, like either the deals are like C minus, like really bad locations and bad tenant profile. The income is bad, which is numbers are working out, but the thing I don't want to do the deals there, or it's too expensive where it's just like, it didn't work out for me. And the reason to Jacksonville is when I was trying to expand markets for my single family homes. I was looking at Austin, and somehow actually got into Jacksonville because of the property manager. And the property manager I was actually referring, they do turnkey single family home as well. I was talking to them, kind of, doing due diligence, everything with them, and making sure what kind of deal, single family homes that they can help me on rehabbing and the stuff. Then I suddenly, after talking to Neil, I said, guys, I'm not interested in single families. No, we have deals, this is 60K, do ARVs 120K.
You're done. You're done with the ARV
I'm
business.
Done. But they said, okay, we'll help you in multifamily as well. Let me know if you find any deals, we will help you manage, right? Then that's when it kind of Jacksonville started. And then they also kind of help you in due diligence and everything. Then we looked at few deals together and we got this 20-unit deal that was on market actually. But it's a heavy lifting stuff, roofs are bad, 2-3 units are down. It's really heavy lifting. I thought, okay, let me just get into it. The 20 unit is most like a cost of a one condo here, right?
So looks so cheap, right? From when you look at California, right?
What I'm going to lose here, let me try it out. And then we made really good money on that. So definitely I got the money from my friends and family first, not a syndication, it's more like a joint venture. A lot of my small multifamily is a joint venture. We can go into details how I structured those. Yeah, so that was very good deal. We look back right now. We did that. And then quickly, since I liked the market, I kind of learned about Jacksonville more. The more I know, it's a really hot market. Then did 4 more deals, in the span of another 8 months to 9 months. And then all are small, 20, 30, 12, 30 to 59. 5 deals I did.
Since you learned syndication, syndication, you can pull larger money and buy 100 plus unit, right? Like some gurus say, start with 100 plus.
Yep.
Why did you start with 20 and 30, and what was the driving motivation for that?
Neil actually encourages to start with small. He never said go more than 100 units. But I'm part of Think Multifamily, Mark Kinney. He suggests only 100 plus units because of several reasons. Because if you're putting effort on a 20 unit, it's the same as 200 unit. Go 100 plus. I totally believe it. From a mentorship perspective, he's definitely right on that, because when I did my 8 LLC taxes for last year and all the administrative work that goes behind these things, I would totally agree with Mark, and also any other gurus out there said do not go 100 plus, go only 100 plus units. I totally agree on that from effort standpoint. But there is money to be made in this 40 to 100 unit space as well. And a lot of people ignore it. There is definitely a possibility that you can put your operations hat there and your creative hat there to see how you can profit from it, right? You also know in that perspective as well.
Yeah, correct. So I started with 45 units and I really love it just because you really learn a lot from smaller deals, right? And you don't have to go much bigger deal and you forget. You cannot be skipping elementary school and middle school, try to go direct to high school. You can do it once in a while or when the market is so good, right? But the fundamentals of real estate is really learned on the smaller deals, and even single family, right? You start with single family and you move to the smaller deals.
Right. So there are pros and cons. For example, you cannot. The pros is you don't need to have payroll. The con is also the same thing, right? You don't have a staff, and then your property manager may be sitting in some downtown office somewhere. They don't know what's happening at the 20 unit, right, or 40 unit. So you need to have really kind of a good property manager. Even for 100 plus units, also you need a good property manager. But at least you have staff. At least you can talk to them. Hey, what's going on? Because the regional might not be at the site all the time, right? The regional might be going once in a month, once in 15 days, whatever. Yeah. But you have a staff there. You can talk to, hey, what's going on leasing? What is the foot traffic? What are other strategies that you have? How is the rehab going on these units? Have you did the make ready? All these things. Is the lawn cut? The swimming pool is clean. You can talk to someone. But if there is a 59 unit somewhere in the west side of Jacksonville, and my property manager is sitting on downtown, they don't even know the pool guy is coming. Right? Correct. If they don't know that the lawn is not cut for the last 2 months.
Correct.
Right? So this is good and bad, especially if you're doing a out of state property asset management. That will be more difficult. But there are ways to mitigate that. Right?
Correct.
have a local partner in your deal that who's on site, on site means at least on the ground, goes like once in a week or so.
So did you have a local partner there? Boots on the
Not in
ground?
Jacksonville, but not in Kansas City and Cleveland. But now Jacksonville, I have changed my property manager. She's really hands-on. She actually sits in one of our offices. The 59 unit has an office actually.
Oh, good.
So she's really good. And now I can think of acquiring more properties in Jacksonville. I was thinking not to acquire more, but if you have really good property manager who is hands-on and kind of trustworthy, then you can definitely these are really cash cows.
Yeah. I mean, the people plays the most important aspect in property management, right? It's a people business.
Absolutely.
So once you find a really good people, you are motivated, right? So
if you are local or you have a partner locally, I think the 40 to 80 unit game, it's definitely worthwhile to not to ignore.
There's not many people who look at that space. I mean, as I said, market was so hot, right? Before the pre-corona, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Now we have to talk about pre-corona and post-corona.
And post-corona, yeah. But
pre-corona, so much of capital looking for deals, and everybody just buy the bigger deals, right?
Yeah. I divide the deals into three bands, James, like 40 to 80, 80 to 160, and 160 above, right?
Okay.
40 to 80 is where I do kind of deals with mostly JVs, and then also syndicate based on deal, where you don't need on-site staff. We can operationalize and then make sure that, let's say if you have multiple 40 to 80 unit deals in the same market, you can at least have some scale within that, have a maintenance person go around these 3-4 properties, right? So 80 to 160 units where I focus primarily for a syndication perspective, where we can have staff. Typical 160 plus is the institutional level where the different competition is there, which I'm not going right now.
Yeah.
But I would love to go
160 plus. Okay. I
So
think that's still not institutional. I think
not institutional, but at least you have a different set of
different level people. Yeah. Professional investors, right? I would say maybe. So how did you structure this JV on the smaller side? Because you really don't have to do syndication for everything, right? I mean, if you have a few guys who are your family and friends who are willing to put some large money, you can just do a JV, right? So can you explain to the audience how did you do that JV rather than syndication?
So even if it is JV, I would want someone like they do perform some task. It's not that hey, it's a JV and I'll do all the work. They'll also have to do some work on that. The way I was structured, James, is two options here. One, either I put less money and they put more money and everybody will have an equal share. Let's say I'm like giving very rough example. I put 50K and other people put like 100K each or 200K each, whatever it is. And each of the three persons will get 33% of the LLC, right? That's one option. The second option is I also put 100K. Like, all the three people will put 100K into the deal, but I get 50%. They both get 25%. It's just like very high level examples. It might not be real. Either I put less money and take the equal percentage with other investors, or I put more money and take higher percentage. Same money as others.
I mean, all these deals you're buying in these different cities, is it all value add or deep value add or cash flowing? How is that?
Mostly value add. Some are deep value adds as well. I'm kind of going away some cookie cutter stuff, but the cookie cutter stuff I'll still do it, but for a long term hold, right? Like that is more kind of relevant for a JV structure. Because hey, for a syndication, I need to perform, right? 3 to 5 years, I need to exit, But if I find a deal which is really kind of a long-term hold, and that is also good for this model where I don't need to worry about performing something in 3 to 5 years. I can even take a bridge loan and refinance it and keep it for longer term. If you get a cash out, that's fine. If you don't get a cash out, that's also fine. At least you can get all the rehab money from the lender and renovate it fully and then go to a permanent loan and keep it for 6 to 8 years or 10 years.
So do you finance with the bridge loan in the beginning? In the beginning itself?
Yes. Yeah. Half of the loans I did till now are bridge loans.
Okay.
Half of them are Freddie Mac. But see, if there is a deep value add, I can get all the rehab budget from the bridge lender.
Yeah, correct. Deep value add makes sense.
And then refinance it.
Got it.
So if it's a light kind of a cookie cutter or a little bit light value add, I go with Freddie Mac loans.
Yeah, I mean the smaller ones has less competition. Sometimes you make a lot more money because there's no payroll, and some I don't know. Some people like by 45 units, people just like to stay in a smaller community, because They don't like bigger, and the people, lot of residents
Yeah,
like smaller communities. They don't need all these
exactly.
amenities, right? They just
Yeah.
workforce housing.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what another trend is happening, right? The build
Uh-huh,
to rent, right? They're
uh-huh,
doing a medium density build to rent. The
uh-huh.
whole complex is for rent. Let's say they build a townhome complex or a single family home complex only
Mm,
for rent,
mm,
because we will be renter nation for some time, and especially this post Corona,
mm,
it will be delayed. Like next 3 more years,
mm.
people will not be like looking at home ownership, right? But at the same time, they don't want to live in apartments. They can live in a townhome community or a kind of a little bit less density single family
Correct.
home community, or
Mm,
maybe more density single family home community. They're okay with that, right? Because they still have the pride of ownership. You have a better tenant profile, and they
correct.
can also feel that they're like living in like a
Living in
typical
a
home
house. Yeah.
than apartment complex. So the build to rent, a townhome and a single family home concept is growing as well.
So let's say you get a deal, like every day you get a deal right now, right? I mean, you're getting it
Right.
through brokers, I presume, right? So,
Yep.
so what are the sniff tests do you do on the deal? Because sometimes there can be
This,
too many deals, right?
yeah, I have my 60 seconds rule, 60 minutes rule, and 60 days. Like I see, the more you go, you're gonna spend more time on this deal, right? I would. So the first thing I do is go to like Justice Map or CoStar just to see the demographics, right? But
Mm,
that. So what is the median income and demographics mix on this, and how is the
mm,
income is growing in this area, right? If
mm.
that is a bad area, I just like, and
So
I leave.
every deal, the 60-second is that few steps. Go to Costa.
Yeah,
Look at.
first go to, yeah. No, I don't need to go to Justice Map is free. Just go to
Okay.
justicemap.org. Just put the
Yeah.
address.
What's
You'll
that?
see the
What's that
census
called?
block.
What's that website called?
Just
Oh, Justice Map.
justicemap.org.
Yeah, justicemap.org, right?
.org.
ORG.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just go to that, put the address. You will see the census block. What
Correct.
is the median income? What is the demographics mix, and how the income is changing?
Mm,
Then you'll see the first sniff test, and
got
then
it.
I'll see the rents. Nowadays what I'm seeing is the average rents like around 750 or above. Like I'm not
Mm,
going to C minus, C property, C plus or B.
mm.
Yeah, so I can quickly take a deal out 60 seconds or less. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's
And then
good.
next step will be like go to deep underwriting and see what is the rent projections. Go to Rentometer or any other, like I can
Mm,
go CoStar or Rentometer and see what's the rents. Is it like below the market or not? Because I don't care about the rent growth. What happened in the next 5, 6 years? What I see in place rents and
mm.
what I can achieve with the market, right?
Okay.
That is
Got it.
where I focus. Let's say if it is $75, $150, $200 below, then definitely if it is like a C plus B area, 45K or 40K median income or above, and the demographics mix is good and everything, then I definitely go to the next level and
Okay.
spend. Should I spend 6 days or not? Then I go to
Yeah.
the 60 days.
That's probably including the best and final and all that, I guess.
Yeah, every step that you go, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 6 days or 60 days, you're going to waste your time, effort,
Yeah.
money. So on a deal, right? So you need to talk to brokers, you need to visit,
Mm.
it adds up the cost, time and effort, energy.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? On how much work you have to do on progressively, right? So, is there a lot of competition even on the smaller deals?
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, in the sense, especially like previously, right? Last 2 years, there's competition for everything. But the 40 to 80 unit space, right, James? Like the smaller people cannot buy those, and
Mm.
they still want the track record, and
Correct.
everything. They don't want to give it the deal to anyone.
Mm.
The bigger people are not interested in these deals, right? Because at the same thing, what you said,
Mm.
it's too much work. Definitely, there will be competition. But if you do a JV structure, and especially you can do a long-term hold or maybe a 1031 exchange, because on a larger syndication, it'll be 20, 30, 40 people. It will be difficult to convince everyone, hey, let's do a 1031 exchange, right? So on a
Mm.
smaller deal, like if I get a 42 unit, we got, right? I know the JV people, like we have 5 people. So once we got a bridge loan, we renovate, we'll sell. Say if somebody wants to buy this thing, we have a bigger pool of money in the pot for the 1031. Now we
Mm.
can, from 42 units, I can go to 80 units, and then I can go to
Mm.
160 units from that
Got
same
it.
thing.
Got it.
And
Got
I
it.
can spin off 3/4 1031 exchange like that. And quickly I can go from 200 to 800 units within 2 to 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah, you can start from small and just doing
Right.
1031 and start increasing.
Exactly. On a syndication, it's not kind of very difficult, right? Like I have
Yeah.
40 investors, like half of them, hey, I need my money back. Half of them say, hey, let's do 1031. Okay, then
Mm.
it will be difficult to coordinate this.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I never done a 1031 exchange until now because I don't prefer it so much because I'm worried that it causes me to buy the wrong deals, right? Because all
Yeah.
sellers love 1031 buyers, right? So that's, I mean, just
You need to be
just for myself.
active. Don't disclose that you're 1031 buyer. So you need to be active. Have those deal flow, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be really active. I get every time I have like 4 to 5, 6 deals, then I can pick the right one. Hey, I'm not going to go wrong on this because it's a B property, 80s construction, whatever that the criteria that you have.
Got it.
The rents are like $100 lower. I'm okay to even overpay 100K, 200K on this because, on the 1031, you want certainty, right? You want the certain to close it.
Correct.
So pick the right property and make sure you do the due diligence and then do the 1031 because, So worst case, you need to pay taxes. It's not like end of the world,
Correct.
but,
Correct.
it's better than, going into bad deal.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about your value add strategy. What is the most, do you do interior, exterior? And from there, can you define what's the most valuable value add that you have seen?
No, I do. I did deep value add. The roofs are leaking, falling down. We got a new roof and completely renovating the units to top notch. Paying $7,000 to $8,000 also into the C properties. I think the thing is we need to see the holistic picture, right? There is no one specific thing that I do which is the most value add. I think just turning around that property to create the maximum value out of this, right? Like if it is a exterior deferred maintenance, the problem with the exterior deferred maintenance is you don't get any rent bump, if I change my roof,
Correct,
right?
Correct, yeah.
But you need to make sure that you negotiate the deal. Okay, hey, this has a roof issue, and if you paying the market price for a deep value add, that doesn't make sense, right? If there is an exterior deferred maintenance, I would love to have everything in place and only do the interior value add, right?
Correct.
That is the best thing to do if I can get. But I'm not afraid of deep value adds. I did full redevelopments. Also, I'm doing new construction as well. So whatever the maximum value that you can derive out of the property or deal, right? That is what I look into it.
Got it. So that's very interesting. So tell me about yourself. You are an engineer and you are doing real estate right now. Where do you see yourself in the next, 5 to 10 years?
Yeah,
Pre-corona, pro-corona.
If you talk, if we had the same conversation in January, James, I was thinking I would retire in 2020. I had two deals. I was about to go under contract. I backed out on one deal. I was other deal also. I might 80% I'm there in the fence to back out. Right?
Okay.
It completely changes, right? So things like this, you go back to the square one, go back to drawing board or go back to school, right?
Correct.
Rethink your strategies. Yeah, definitely deep value adds and new construction. I wanted to create maximum value out of it. Cookie cutter, I'm mostly ignoring, but if I can do long-term hold, I'm okay with cookie cutter. Let's say it's not that I can get out 3 to 5 years and do this kind of churn. It's a lot of work, right? A lot of people think when you just come into syndication or a multifamily, it is a passive income. This is not passive income at all. Zero passive income here. But for investors, yes. So I would continue doing what I'm doing, but maybe more conservative with the new rules. The rules have changed.
The rules have changed, yeah.
The playing field changed. The game is changed. Everything is changed, right? But the fundamentals remain the same, right? We will be renters nation. The multifamily will not go away. People need place to live. The next 1 year will be a little bit, at least 6 months to 1 year will be a bit tough from an operations perspective. Fully focusing on operations on what I have, and I'll continue the story. But the story now will be much better, right? You see what is the need for passive income. Now you know better, right? Things might change. People are getting layoff. So you need to get your passive income streams. The story becomes stronger now. Nothing changed in that perspective. Right?
Correct. And also in the stocks market, you can lose your money, right? But in brick and mortar real estate, you don't really lose the money. You just...
At least the capital is preserved. You have a hard asset. You can go and touch feel it, and then that's not going anywhere. You might have, instead of 8% returns, you might have 2% returns or 1% returns. At least your capital is preserved.
Yeah,
stock markets, you're beating down like crazy there. Losing half of your money or more than half of your money, right? So the story it not changed. It got better now. The story got better, and maybe it's easier to pass on this thing. But there might be challenges raising capital in the next few months. because people might have lost money in stock or lost their job, whatever it is. But eventually it will come back. The people will remember this. They know the value of passive income more than before. I'll continue the value add, deep value adds, and new construction strategies into the multifamily.
Got it. Is there a proud moment in your life that you think you're really, really proud that you cannot forget? I mean, until now, of course, you're going to do a lot more things, right? But until now, when you started this business.
Right. Yeah, the first 20-unit deal, when we actually renovated this thing, I was really felt happy. It was actually really bad property. The roofs were really leaking and everything. The tenants were bad. Like, it's just, the backyard, everything was all trashed. Like, completely we reprofiled this thing. We did made like more than 70% returns on that. The money factor, that's one thing. And overall, that transformation that you do, I kind of really was proud moment for me. And also into the land development deals that I'm doing. It was 18 months of effort for us to get this 97-unit townhome project. We closed it in February. So I was another proud moment from a new development side.
Got it. So you're like moving from one domain to another domain. That must be happy moment, right? So, and why did you move to development?
Yeah, as I said, right, like I like this North Carolina, Austin, Atlanta, hot markets, because I would rather do it in these markets, but there are no deals out there, in a sense, like too expensive. Austin, right?
Correct,
the old 1970s and 80s product itself is so expensive. I would rather build new with this, but there are unknowns. There are risks for new construction. It's not, that easy to. It has its own.
Otherwise, everybody will be building, right? If it's easy,
everybody will be building. It has its own stuff.
Correct.
Overall, I want to be patient to find the right deals and find the right construction partners and find the right type of investors. Right? Not everybody will be interested in new development. Right? They want cash flow. You're not going to get cash flow. There's a lot of risk also. You might lose your capital also in that, because there's no asset there, right? It's all in the air.
Yeah, you have to go through so many entitlement process and city approvals and all that.
There's red tape involved. There's so much of things involved. But I would, in a market like Austin or North Carolina, I would rather build than buy a 70s and 80s product.
Got it.
That was the main reason for me to get into new development, because I like the market. What I can do in this market, because I love North Carolina, I love Austin, I love North Atlanta. What I can do in these markets from a real estate perspective, then the only answer for me is the new development.
Interesting. So tell our audience how to get hold of you.
Yeah, you can reach out in with my website, zovest.com, ZOVEST, like invest, zovest.com. You can reach out Rama at zovest.com. And I'm active in a lot of Facebook groups. You can reach out to me there as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Rama, for coming in. Happy to have you here, and happy that you add a lot of value to our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode. If you'd like to learn even more, check out James's free audiobook. It's the audio version of his best-selling book on passive investing. You can get the audiobook completely free, along with other valuable resources, by visiting www.achieveinvestmentgroup.com/free audiobook. Also, be sure to join our Facebook group too. To find it, just do a Facebook search for Multifamily Investors Group. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another episode next week. See you then.